Sports. Sports. 6 o'clock, Sports Renegades, SportstownChicago.com. I'm Ryan Risky.
I am Ryan Stuprich.
And we've definitely got plenty to talk about. Obviously, last week it was mostly a Bears pregame show.
That's right, because we did our pregame show up until kickoff, and we watched a little bit of it in here.
Yes, we did, and that was quite a loss for the Bears. Anyways, this week it's not all a Bears pregame because the Bears don't play today. Yeah, it's a good thing that they didn't play this Thursday because
there's not much to talk about.
Yeah, well,
as far as the Bears are concerned.
Well, yeah, I mean, if they played today, that'd be the wrong week considering this is the winter meetings, and
that's right.
I mean, I'm pretty sure the entire second hour is going to be all baseball stuff. I mean, we'll do our usual Bears for the first half hour, and then the rest of the making our picks and talking about the rest of the NFL the next half hour, and then probably the winter meetings the whole time because this may have been the most active winter meetings ever.
It very well could have been. I was watching MLB Network last night. They were talking about sort of the other things in the winter meetings. Like last year, the big Robinson Cano signing happened at the winter meetings. And then they were talking about the 2000, I think, winter meetings where the Red Sox signed Manny Ramirez and sort of got their championship thing all sorted together at those winter meetings. But this has definitely been the most active, at least as far as I can remember, as far as how many moves, and especially in Chicago, how many moves have happened.
Yeah, I mean, the Cubs were actually active for once. I think this is the first year that in the Theo era that they've made a move at the winter meetings because usually they do all their work before and after the winter meetings.
Right. But yeah, we're going to talk about the Bears for a little bit because we have to. I mean, season's winding down. We don't have to talk about it for much longer.
I'm sure ESPN's really looking forward to 2 sub-500 teams for Monday Night Football.
The Saints are still on the playoff hunt for that NFC South crown, so we'll have to see what happens there.
They're going to come out furious after getting blown out 41-10 against, or 42-10 against the Panthers in New Orleans. In New Orleans.
I know.
And so
now the Saints don't really have a home field advantage anymore, especially for this season. It's just sort of a bad season. But I still don't know how the Bears can stop Drew Brees because it is Drew Brees.
I believe it was last year when Alshon Jeffrey went off against the Saints. The Saints had a good defense last year, and Alshon had 217 yards.
Yeah. But that's the game I was at last year, the Saints at the Bears. That's the game I was at. Alshon Jeffrey did really good. The Bears lost by 8, I think.
Except I think the Bears played really bad, though. Didn't they have 3 points at halftime?
They might have had a touchdown. I don't know. The final score was, I think, I want to say 26-18 was the final. Was the score?
Okay,
something
and
like that.
I think they missed. They failed to recover an onside kick at the end.
Yes, they did. And then I left right after that.
Yeah. I'm actually going to the game on Monday.
Oh, lucky you!
Yeah, well, if they lose, I will have seen the Bears lose 3 times at the game. I've seen them win once and lose 3 times.
Yeah, well, at least you got that one win in there. I'm not going to see them win at all. I only went to that Dolphins game, so yeah. I mean,
that was a bad game.
That's where it all started to really fall down because you had the horrible post-game comments by Mark Trestman. And
the entire team
Brandon Marshall yelling and screaming in the locker room, and that's sort of when everything clicked. We're like, this season is not going to work.
Yeah, I mean, and that was also before people realized Miami's not a bad team, except the Bears still should have been able to beat them.
Should have been able to put up more points for sure.
Kyle Long calling out the fans saying it was unacceptable that they were booing at halftime when you have 0 points.
That's where it all started to click, where it's like,
the thing that annoyed. I mean, I forgot that they played bear down after they get a first down because they had 0 in the first half of that game.
Right. Yes, I do remember that.
I remember they didn't have any first downs in that first half.
It's a shame. But yeah.
It is. Even though New Orleans has a very subpar record comparing to some of the talent on their team.
I think the Bears and Saints had the same record, right? Are they both 5-8?
Oh, yeah. The Bears would be in first place in that division.
Yeah, that's
because they'd win the tiebreaker over Atlanta.
Right, and Atlanta is
5-7, and so are the Bears.
5-7, yep.
And or maybe they're 5-8. I think it's 5-8. Both teams are.
I thought Atlanta had a lead. No, I think
because
you're right.
then
the Saints and Falcons are tied.
Yeah, because then Aaron Rodgers went to work on Monday Night Football.
Yep. Oh gosh, was that although I was happy Atlanta was able to stay in it. There hasn't been a team that's been that competitive with the Packers since the Jets, like in week 2.
I don't think that was in Green Bay, though.
The one against the Jets?
Yeah.
I think it was in Green Bay.
Really?
If I'm not mistaken, I think it was in Green Bay. That was the only time that the Packers had trouble. Because, if you remember in the beginning of the season, the Packers had those 2 losses. Everyone was freaking out, and then Aaron Rodgers said, relax, and now they've been banking on that all season.
No. The Jets that Jets win was week 2, so they started out 1-0. I remember they lost to Seattle. They beat the Jets.
Right.
And then they clobbered somebody in week 3.
They beat the Jets, but the Jets had a chance to win at the end, and
the Jets should have won. They were up 24-3 at halftime.
That's when their, I think it was offensive or defensive coordinator on the Jets called a timeout, right? They called a timeout when they were going to kick a field goal.
I think it was someone on the field called a timeout.
Yeah.
No, they called a timeout right before the snap, and they had scored a touchdown on that play.
Yes.
Boy, yeah, I'm surprised the Bears coach hasn't done that this year.
Oh, we still got 3 games left.
That's too many.
We wouldn't be surprised if Mel Tucker does something like that, or even Mark Trestman.
Yeah, I mean, I just can't stand these reports that says the Bears are thinking about parting ways with Mel Tucker at the end of the year. Why are they thinking about parting ways with Mel Tucker? Why isn't he just going to be fired? What has he done to keep his job?
He has to be fired. Him and Joe DeCamillis have to be fired because, special teams has been a wreck all year. Special teams was not that great last year either.
No, once Dave Tobe left, the special teams turned into a disaster.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, our defense sort of went into shambles when Rod Marinelli left, when Lovie Smith left because he wanted to be with Lovie Smith, or I guess he didn't want to be with the new coaching system. Smart move by him.
I think he realized how bad a Mark Trestman defense is, except remember, he had a worse defense in Dallas last year, except now he's running a pretty solid defense.
He is. And the Cowboys are looking to go to the playoffs for the first time in a while.
Yeah, they're not going to be 8-8 this year.
No, they won't. That's exciting for them and Mr. Jerry Jones.
Yeah, on a poll of the top 20 worst owners, he was number 3 on it.
Where was Virginia McCaskey? I wonder if she was on the list.
Nope.
No,
because they make money.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I can't deny the fact that they make money.
That's all they care. That's all the McCaskies care about is money.
Yeah, we talked about that before on the show, of course. And,
Too many times. Well, that's because that's all they care about.
I know.
Instead of putting together a stadium that'll help the team with a home field advantage, they decided, why don't we just make more money? Let's have the most suites in the NFL. Let's not even make it a bowl. Let's just have it on the sidelines. Let's just
let's not forget that the parking situation is nearly impossible as well.
Yeah, there's literally no parking. Like I feel like you can't.
That's hard to control because they are in the city of Chicago and they're
it's
on
poor
Lake
location.
Michigan, but that's what it is with Chicago teams. You have to be in the city.
Like you can't go to a Bears game and not have like a parking pass ahead of time.
Yeah. Oh, I know. It's tough. I've done it before where you don't have a parking pass and we've almost been late.
Yeah, I don't know if they have any cash lots. That's the thing.
I'm not sure if they do.
Because I know some people go and park in the Millennium garage by 670.
I've parked in a parking garage on Michigan Avenue near the stadium, but it's like a 15-20 minute walk then.
Yeah, and that's the thing. None of their parking lots, except for the underground one right across from the Field Museum. Other than that one, they're all pretty far.
Yeah,
some are so far you got to take that shuttle bus. Except anyway, going back to how the McCaskies don't care about winning. Instead of doing like a bowl, like every single team in the NFL, they just have it go on the side, so you're losing about a couple thousand seats.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, they don't even have, and then so they did that so they could charge more money for one side to have an inside of it.
Yeah.
You had to make people pay more money to sit on the suite side. And then, of course, you don't even have any seats on that side because you have 5 levels of suites.
Yeah, it's
and then you have about
situation.
Then you probably have like 10,000 people that are in suites.
Right. So I mean, like when and you have and you can't hear the people in the suites, especially when it's cold out. They're gonna have the windows shut.
Especially when it's a soundproof glass too.
Yeah,
it literally is.
Well, it must be kind of awkward then to like watch the game when you can't really hear much except for the noise on the TV, I guess.
They do have. That's the nice that they have TVs in there. I mean, it's ridiculous. They need a new stadium, and I mean.
Well, they made those improvements in 2003.
And they lost 5,000 seats.
And I wouldn't necessarily call them improvements.
Especially with the restroom situation. It's illegal.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, well, and I've told you this before. At halftime, you have to either get food or go to the bathroom. There's not enough time for both. Otherwise, you miss half of the third quarter.
Or all of it.
Yeah, it's It's really not good. But
another thing is, like, especially like where the 400 and 300 level, they have so many. Those are where they have the most seats, and they don't really have they don't accommodate the people with more restrooms.
That's true. That's true. When I usually go, I sit in the 400 level grandstand, and
you can get.
It's a pain to walk up those stairs. They're very steep, and if you're in row 25, I think there's like maybe 40 or 50 rows up there. If you go up to like row 25, which is where I was sitting for the Bears-Dolphins game this year, I mean, it's a lot further than you think as far as how far you're walking up.
Yeah, it's really steep.
It's a nice view, but
it's really steep.
Yeah,
it goes up
it's
quickly.
A nice view, but it's very steep. But yeah, the Bears and Saints are playing on Monday night, and
there's tickets going for $37 on StubHub.
Oh my gosh, that's a shame. I just might want to go just for that. I mean, a $37 NFL ticket to
there's there's tickets.
A pretty good deal.
Like there's some tickets that are like under 50 in the 300 level.
Yeah, so those might be something to look at. I'm still probably not going to.
I mean, it's not even like going to be a terrible weather day. I think the high is supposed to be like 46.
Yeah, it's supposed to be nice this weekend. It's supposed to be in the mid to upper 40s, which is going to be nice.
So I mean, it's not like it's going to be like terribly cold like the Dallas game last year.
Yeah, that was very cold. But of course, you had that nice half game speech.
Oh yeah, halftime speeches where Dick looked like he wanted to like choke George McCaskey for having the nerve to make the ceremony in December.
Yeah, that's true. Although it was pretty exciting when he screamed, "Go Bears!"
You could tell that's all he had. That's all he had tolerance for.
Yeah. So it's gonna be exciting. Of course, you can always follow us on Twitter. I'm at Ryan Stuprich,
and I'm at Risky16. And coming up after this, we have more Bears talk, and then after that, we'll be making our picks for the week. Sports Renegades, SportstownChicago.com. Welcome back to the Sports Renegades here on SportstownChicago.com. Ryan Risky and Ryan Stuprich taking you the rest of the way for the next hour and a half, where we'll be talking about the Bears, making our NFL picks, and then recapping the winter meetings.
So exciting.
I don't even know if an hour will be enough to recap the winter meetings.
Exactly. Because, I mean, I haven't seen – I mean, the winter meetings end today, right?
They ended. They already ended.
They already ended. Okay, yeah. Well, of course, there's going to be probably more moves by the Cubs and Sox by the time April 1st rolls around. So.
Oh yeah, I'm sure the Cubs will be making some more minor league signings, making some depth signings.
Yeah.
And anyways, we'll get more into that in the second hour. We were just talking about the Bears and their horrible stadium. I think it's the worst in the NFL. How can the Chicago Bears have the smallest stadium?
The charter franchise of the NFL. George Halas makes the NFL like what it is.
George Halas would have a heart attack after watching what's happened to this team.
And now you look at what's happening now. You have a bad character in Brandon Marshall. I mean, he's a great football player and a great wide receiver, but you can see the reasons why the Broncos and Dolphins didn't want him. And you can see why the Bears, maybe are regretting, sort of, in a sense, of getting him. But I don't know. It's tough. But, I mean, their stadium is just awful, and the team is just awful, and it's all just awful.
Like, isn't part of home field advantage supposed to be forcing the other team into going offsides or having a false start?
Yeah,
I don't think that ever happens at Soldier Field. And if it does, it's not because of the crowd noise.
I agree with that. I don't know. It's tough. But, you always see the, every time the defense, a lot of it has to do with the fans. The fans are always chanting and screaming and loud, at least they used to when the Bears were on offense, and a lot of times that disrupted the Bears' offense. And now
because it was so bad.
Yeah, and now, it's not good. There's no fan support, really.
Right, and another thing is when the Jacksonville Jaguars get more fans than you, that's embarrassing. How do the Bears have the lowest attendance in the NFL? Oh, wait, they have the smallest stadium by a lot.
Yeah.
Oakland gets more fans than the Bears do.
Right,
because
Oakland's got that giant O.Co. Coliseum.
Uh-huh, and another thing is, don't the McCaskies realize they'll make more money if they add more seats so they can have more season ticket holders?
You would think so.
And the funny thing is, about an average of 6,000 fans, the past 3 home games have been no-shows.
Right, and that's very disappointing. I mean, it's not like the Bears have no wins. I know that they're not doing good, and they're really awful, and they haven't even come close to what their season expectations were. But still, they're 5-8, I would think there'd be more fans there.